AI receptionists are taking the world by storm. They are completely transforming customer interactions, ensuring 24/7 availability for your business. This, of course, being to help you land more customers. If you run a business that requires a receptionist or just someone manning the phone to handle any customer calls, then this video is for you. I'll guide you step by step on everything you need to know to build an advanced AI receptionist that 1. Handles all your customer calls, 2. Books appointments on your behalf, and 3. Sends your team an email of the new booked appointment. Here's the demo.
Hello, this is Jane from Ultimate Dental. How can I assist you today?
Actually, Jane, if you can book me into an appointment as soon as possible, that would be awesome. My teeth are aching.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Teeth pain can be quite a bother. When did the pain start?
Actually, it's a funny story. Yesterday I was playing ball, and this guy tackled me and I hit the ground like crazy, and now my teeth are aching.
Wow, that sounds intense. I'm really sorry to hear that. Can you tell if it's a specific tooth or area in your mouth that's hurting? Or is it more of a general ache?
It's mainly my lower teeth.
Got it. Did you notice any swelling, bleeding, or any unusual sensations since the incident?
Yes, so it's a bit swollen, and when I drink any cold or hot drinks, it's quite painful.
Yikes, that sounds pretty uncomfortable. Let's sort that out with an appointment. Could I get your full name, please?
My name is John Smith.
Thanks, John. And what's your email address?
My email is @gmail.com.
Great. And your preferred phone number?
0755443322.
Got it. So just to confirm, so name, John Smith. Email. Phone 0755443322. Is that all correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. When would you like to book your appointment? Any specific date and time in mind?
Kindly, can we do tomorrow at 12 p.m.?
Just a moment, I check that for you. You're all set, John. We've got you booked for tomorrow at 12 p.m. See you then. Don't worry. You'll be in good hands.
Thank you so much. You're the best.
You're welcome, John. See you at your appointment. Take care.
So here in my Google Calendar, you can see the appointment has been booked for tomorrow at 12 p.m. Dental appointment with John Smith, and my email. So you can see 2 email addresses have just entered. And the first one is dental appointment booked. So this is, I have my email address as the doctor's email address. So when an appointment is booked, the doctor receives an email for them to prepare for the appointment. So you can see here, dear doctor, a new appointment has been booked. Here are their details, their name, email, phone number, and their dental condition. You can see pain and swelling in the lower teeth after a ball tackle incident, increased pain with hot and cold drinks. And the appointment time is for 18th of March at 12 p.m., which is correct. And if I go to my calendar down here, you can clearly see that to be the case. So tomorrow is 18th of March. Then going back here, the other email you can see here, this email is the email sent to the customer just to inform them the appointment has been booked. So you can see, dear John Smith, this is to confirm that your appointment for that specific time, 12 p.m., has been successfully booked. See you soon. It also saves the appointment details to our database. It could be your database, it could be your CRM, etc. In this case, it's Airtable database. You can see the appointment there, the customer's name, their email address, their phone number, their dental condition, which when I expand, you can see pain and swelling in lower teeth after a ball tackle incident, increased pain with hot and cold drinks. And you can see the appointment time is tomorrow at 12 p.m. So that's how the system works. It works to take in appointments for your business, handle any customer inquiries the customer might have, then actually send your team an email to notify them of the new booked in appointment. It's quite powerful, ensuring that you're 24/7 available to take in appointments. Let's say if you're dealing with customers internationally, it could be that in their country it's day and yours at currently it's night. It doesn't mean you have to miss the business. You can just ensure you have the AI phone caller in place to take in any appointments, whether it's day, whether it's night, whether it's the weekend, whether it's holiday. This maximizes that you're ensuring any lead that comes through your pipeline is not falling through the cracks. So let's jump into it. But if you're new to the channel, my name is Mutiso and I'm part of the team at Big Grip, where we help business owners unlock the next level of growth by implementing AI and automation. I also share my knowledge out here to help developers get better and better building AI systems. Anyways, let's jump into it. So we're building the voice bot over on a platform called Vapi, arguably one of the best voice bot building platforms out there. So if you don't have an account on Vapi, go ahead and search vapi.ai. You'll go ahead and create an account. It can be with your Google account or whatever. Then you log into your dashboard. Once you do that, you'll arrive at something of the sort. So let it load up. So you'll arrive at something of the sort. If this is your first time, this side will be empty. So because you haven't built a voice bot before. So this, I have one created, but we'll build this from scratch. Okay, so don't worry, I'll guide you through the entire steps. So you'll go ahead and click on create assistant. Then you'll give it a name, something like dentist, receptionist. Then you want to start from a blank template. So you can pick one of these boiler templates. What this means is when you click on customer support specialist, you'll get some boiler template of set English instructions that simulate an AI voice bot for customer support. If you pick a lead qualification specialist, it will give you a boiler template for English instructions of a voice bot that handles lead qualification and the likes. But we want to start building from scratch, so I'll click on blank template, then click on create assistant down here. So once that assistant has been initiated, we'll go into the first message. Then I'll just have my first message as, hello, this is Jen from Ultimate Dental. How can I assist you today? So when the customer calls the dental clinic, this is the first message that the AI will speak. Okay, then let's go into the system prompt, which is the part where you're going to be spending 90-95% of your time, because this is the foundation of the entire AI conversation between the customer and the AI. So before I start building any voice bot, I normally paste in some skeleton that just guides me throughout developing my system prompt. So I'll paste it in here. So you can see here there's the role of the AI. So what this does is it guides the AI to be able to know the system prompt that is guiding the conversation, what each section is actually handling. It will be able to know that this section tells me this is my role. It will know that this section is telling me this is the task that I'm meant to handle during the call. It knows that this is a section that gives me context on the business, etc. So you can see this has hashtags in place. So whenever you see hashtag role, hashtag task, and the likes, this is called markdown formatting. Okay, this, just think of it like these are titles for the specific sections of the system prompt. I mean, the best user interface could be, we just have role over here, then it's underlined just to tell the AI that this represents a title. But in this case, since we're not able to do that, we use markdown formatting. So a hashtag role shows that this is the main title. Then if it has two hashtags, that is a subtitle. Okay, so in this section, we'll tell the AI its role. This section will tell the AI the tasks it's meant to handle during the call. This section will go into more specifics on how to handle each task. Then in the context, we'll have context about the business and the services or products it sells. Then some examples. This is an actual script of a back and forth conversation between the AI and the customer. Then the final section here is the notes section. This, once you test your voice bot and notice mistakes, you come back here to tweak it further, just telling it, oh, Mr. AI, I noticed here you are asking the questions all at once. I need you to ask them one at a time. So that's just cautioning. So when you test the voice bot, you come and fine tune the system prompt within the notes section. Okay, so I'll start on the role. So the role is, you are Jen, an enthusiastic and helpful receptionist for Ultimate Dental. Your role is to provide relevant responses to customer queries and book them into an appointment. You're also an expert at dentistry and thus are familiar with the kind of questions to ask in order to obtain the right information that will be helpful to the dentist before the appointment. So that is the role of the AI. You don't have to have it very long, because you're just telling it the kind of role it's handling during the call. You don't have to fill it up with a lot of paragraphs here. You're risking having a very long system prompt and having statements that are not actually making the AI conversation better. So in regard to the tasks, the first task is, your first task is to use information available in the knowledge base to provide a relevant response to any customer query. And I'll upload some documents to leverage it as the knowledge base. Okay, so knowledge base is the data that the AI will use in order to provide responses to any customer question. So it's just, think of it like a PDF document or a Word document containing any information that you feel is relevant in order to assist the AI provide better responses, more relevant responses that are factual. And for that, I'll go here to files. So you can see on the complete right, I'll click on select files, then I'll add a new file, then I'll choose a file here. So I've uploaded it there. That is Ultimate Dental FAQs. This is the frequently asked questions and respective answers. I can just open the PDF to just show you the format of an actual PDF for the knowledge base. So you can see it's a simple format here, just question answer pairs. So this is a question of the user and the answer that we would expect from the AI. So you can see, for example, what should I expect during my first visit to Ultimate Dental? The answer we'd rather have the AI say is, during your first visit, we will conduct a comprehensive exam, etc. Okay, so you can pause and read through all this, but it's just a simple question answer pairs. So I'm back here. Also, one thing I've noticed, I forgot to tell you, is you need to ensure whenever you make any changes to your system prompt, click on publish to save these changes. So the second task is you are then to steer the conversation towards booking an appointment. Then go ahead to actually book the appointment. So once it's handled any customer query, any concern the customer might have, it goes ahead to book the appointment. So the point is, whenever it's having a conversation with any customer, it's steering them towards the call to action. The call to action in this case is booking them into an appointment. So it will do anything to handle any concern of the customer while steering them towards booking an appointment. This could differ depending on the business. Your call to action could be, let's say, making an initial deposit. Your call to action could be them providing their email and phone number. Doesn't matter. We can be able to initiate that. Then I'll just click enter a couple of times here so that I create some space. Then we can continue. So in regard to the specifics of the tasks that we have provided up here, we need to go and expound on that. So when booking the customer into an appointment, ensure to obtain the following details one at a time. 4 things. One is you need to get the details on their dental condition. Remember that you're an expert at dentistry. Therefore, in this part, ask relevant questions to obtain vital information on the user's dental condition. Second one is obtain their full name. Third one is their email address. Fourth one is their phone number. So this is vital because once we book the appointment, we need to be able to remind them to actually show up for the appointment. So this is something we are also able to build in addition to this voice bot, is an automation to remind the customer to show up for the meeting, to show up for the appointment. So let's say 3 times before the appointment, they get a phone call from our AI reminding them of the appointment. Okay, so let's say 2 days before the appointment, 1 day before the appointment, and exactly 2 hours before the appointment. This boosts your show up rates. Okay, because there's one thing to book them into an appointment, there's another thing to have them show up, and we know that low show up rates is a big bottleneck to many businesses out there. So once you've obtained all of the above details, ensure to confirm their name, email, and phone number to ensure you have them correctly. If they are all correct, go ahead and ask them for a suitable date and time for the appointment. Then book the appointment using the book appointment function. Okay, so don't worry about this. I'll show you on how we're able to actually integrate this functionality. Also, one thing I think I forgot to mention this is, if you want to follow along with me, I'll provide the entire system prompt, the entire make.com template to be able to book the appointment. So in this case, for this book appointment functionality, we're leveraging a platform called make.com that enables us to just directly book it into our Google Calendar. Okay, so don't worry about that. I'll guide you in regard to all that and provide the entire templates for you to just pick them and sell them as soon as tomorrow. Then here in the context about the business, I'll paste in here some. So you can see the Ultimate Dental. Actually, I'll be honest, this actually had ChatGPT generated for me. I was feeling a bit lazy, but we'll just read through it. Ultimate Dental is a premier dental clinic dedicated to delivering top quality oral healthcare in a welcoming and professional environment. Our services include general dentistry, cosmetic procedures, orthodontics, whatever. Just pause and read through it. It's just some context that the AI can have in order when the customer asks a question in related to our business, the AI has some information to give answers on. So here's the thing. You could have this information within your knowledge base in a PDF document that you upload, kind of like what we did for this FAQs document. But the thing is, if it's not quite long, then just have it within the system prompt. This will help the AI better retrieve the information. Because here's the thing with AI voice bots. Retrieving of information from the system prompt is normally more accurate than retrieving the information from the knowledge base, okay? It's not that the retrieving from knowledge base is completely useless, but it's normally more accurate when it's put within the system prompt. But there's a caveat here. If you have the details you want retrieved from the system prompt as very long, like let's say the details are spanning pages, details on your services or your products, or just details on your business, if they can span pages, then you'd rather just have them within the knowledge base, okay? Because you don't want to ramp up your AI usage costs by having a very long system prompt. Because the reality is, whenever you're making the phone call, and let's say the customer asks a question, that question of course will be transcribed. We get the text, send it to the AI, so the AI can decide on what answer to give. When it's coming up with the answer, it needs three things, okay? It will need the system prompt, that is the English instruction. It will need the user's question, and it will also need some context or some information it can leverage. This it will get from the knowledge base in order to provide a relevant response. So you can see if the system prompt is very long, then you're going to be incurring such high AI usage costs. And notice by the this is in every customer interaction. So when I ask a question, let's say I've made a call to the AI, okay? I'm a customer, I'm asking the AI, where are you guys located? Then the AI says, oh, we are located at 123 Main Street, okay? For that one part where I've asked a question and the AI has given back a response, I have incurred AI usage costs. And for that response to be given back to me as the customer, the AI had to receive the entire system prompt to use it as context to provide a better response, a relevant response. So you can see if the system prompt is very long unnecessarily, then you incur very high AI usage costs. So here on what we do, I'll just remove that, but in reality you'd have, let's say, your products or service listed here. That is if they are not very long or they don't involve a lot of details, you can have it in here. So in the examples, as I mentioned, this is just a script of a back and forth conversation between the AI and the customer. This is vital. Why is that? Because you could give the AI all the instructions that you could give it, but it's going to perform way better when you give it an actual example. Okay, this will like 5x your performance. Okay, so for that, I'll just paste in here a script. So you, in this case, represents the AI. And user represents the customer, okay? So, hello, this is Jen from Ultimate Dental. How can I assist you today? The user will be like, I have some serious toothaches on my lower teeth. I need help. So you can pause and read through the entire script. I don't want to bore you with the entire script, but it's kind of similar to what you heard when I was doing the demo. But the important part is I'll scroll down here till where we're doing the function calling, okay? So the AI will be like, awesome, and when would you like to book? So it's already obtained all their details, their name, email, phone number, and their dental condition, and now it's going to book the appointment. So the AI is like, awesome, and when would you like to book? The user is like, can we do tomorrow at 10 a.m.? So in this case, the AI will be like, just a moment, I check. Then it will run the book appointment function in order to book the appointment, okay? Notice that this is in capital letters, is you're telling the AI that this is not part of the script, but rather you need to execute a function in this place. So ensure it's in capital letters. Run the book appointment function. So in order to integrate this functionality, we'll go to functions over here. So I'll click on functions. Then I'll select tools over here, create a new tool. Then I'll click on create tool over here. It's a function, so I'll click on function. So the name of the tool is book appointment. So since I already have book appointment, I'll call it book an appointment. And you'll notice I like whenever I'm naming a variable or I'm naming a tool or I'm naming whatever, I like it in camel case, okay? So you can see camel case means the first letter is small, then any subsequent word starts with a capital letter. So in the description of the tool, okay, and the reason why I like it this way is my background is in programming, so just bear with me. Anyways, in the description is this tool is used to book the customer into an appointment, okay? Can I really type? Just that, you don't need to fill it up with a lot of statements here or words. What you do is if you have a very long description, you're risking having very inaccurate function calling because the AI won't know what this tool is actually doing. So just keep it concise, keep it simple if you don't need to explain much, okay? Then here in the options, ensure just leave this as not toggled on. So if you click toggled on, this means that the AI will execute the function of booking the appointment, but it won't wait to see whether it was successful or not. It will just continue with the customer conversation, okay? But we don't want that. We want the AI to attempt booking the appointment. It waits during the call, so it will tell the customer, kindly wait a bit, I check and book the appointment for you. Then before continuing the conversation, it will wait for a response from the functionality of booking the appointment, then tell them whether it was successful or not. So that's important. But there are situations where you would want it toggled on. Why is this? There are situations where you just want to execute some function in the background and you don't want the customer to know that this function is happening, okay? Something like, let's say, saving the details we have obtained live during the call into our CRM. Maybe we want that to happen in the background without the customer knowing that it's actually happening. That's where you will turn this on, okay? Another situation could be you want to, let's say, trigger just something in the background of the call continuing, and you want it to trigger it and just continue with the call as if nothing had happened, okay? You turn this on, okay? Then I'll scroll down here into parameters. So this is very critical. So add property. Click on add property over here. So what is a property is there are certain informations that need to be obtained during the call before executing the function. So in this case, we need the name, the email, the phone number, and the dental condition. So we need the AI to go back and read through the actual conversation between it and the customer to be able to extract these pieces of information. So the first one we have said is the customer name. So I'll have it in there. The data type it's a string, okay? String is just a text, okay? Then the description is that this is the customer's name, okay? As I mentioned, don't fill up here with a lot of gibberish words. It doesn't help you. It just makes it more inaccurate, okay? So just click on up. First of all, is it required? Yes. So I'll click on that it's required. Then click apply. Then I'll add another property. In this case, this is the customer's email. It's a string. Then the tool description, not tool description, the property description is this is the customer's, can I really type? Email. Today my typing is on a break. It's on holiday. Anyways, it's required. Then I'll click apply. Then the next one is their phone number. So hopefully I have it here. Customer phone. Okay. Then this is the customer's phone number. It's required. Yes. Then click apply. The next one is the appointment time. So I'll leave it as a string. This is a statement containing the date and time the user would want the appointment booked. And why am I saying this is the statement? Because the person could be like, I want you to book me tomorrow at 10 a.m. They haven't said specifically on March 17th at 10 a.m. They have just said tomorrow at 10 a.m. So we need to be able to take that statement, the entirety of it, then have the AI. So within make.com, we'll have an AI step that actually extracts the actual date and time. So if the user says next week Monday at 10 a.m., we're able to nail down and know that next week Monday, let me just check here in my calendar, that next week Monday is actually 24th of March. Okay, so now we're able to book that accurately. So is it required? Yes, it's required. Then click apply. Then the final one is the actual dental condition. So dental condition. Then it's a string. Then this is a summary of the customer's dental condition. So is it required? Yes. Then I'll click on apply. Then I'll scroll down here to the most critical part, which is the server settings. So the server URL here. What is this? Is we have our make.com scenario that's actually going to book the appointment into our Google Calendar. Okay, so in order for us to communicate between the AI Voicebot and make.com, because we have the AI Voicebot handling the customer call and make.com that is booking the appointment into Google Calendar. For this to be able to happen, make.com will provide a URL, kind of like what you're seeing up here, https:// whatever, that will enable us communicate between the AI Voicebot and make.com. So for that in place, let me go to make.com and let's see that in place. So I'm here on my make.com account. So if you don't have a make.com account, go ahead and search it, make.com, create an account and log into your dashboard. You'll arrive at something of the sort. Under scenarios, you'll click on create a new scenario. Okay, once you create a new scenario, you don't need to come and just click on the webhook module, all that. Just click on these three dots, import blueprint, then you'll import the blueprint that I've provided, link in the description. So right now, go to the link in the description. You'll access the entire of this make.com template that will handle booking the appointment, sending the email, etc. Okay, so you don't have to build this from scratch, but I'll guide you step by step in regard to what was going through my mind when I'm building that functionality, why it's essential to do whatever I was doing. So you'll click on choose file, upload the file, then just click on save, and you'll have imported the entire blueprint, and that's all you need to know. And I'll show you what you need to change in order for you to just quickly start on it. So there you go. I have imported the entire blueprint. Then I'll show you what you need to change. So first of all, you'll come here to the OpenAI module over here. Ensure you connect to your OpenAI account. For that, you can click on this online help, and it's quite simple. All you need is your organization ID and your API key. You'll get that when you go to platform.openai.com. Just a moment. Okay, so if you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up, okay, or log in if you do have an account. Mine, I'll just go ahead and log in. So you'll arrive at something of the sort. Once you log in, you want to click on settings over here. Then you'll see your organization ID as is. You'll copy that entirety of it. Then you'll go back to make.com over here. Then you'll click on add. Okay, a new OpenAI connection will be initiated. Paste in your organization ID, then your API key. Go back here to organization settings. Scroll down, you'll see API keys. Click on it. Then you'll create a new secret key. Give it a name, whatever it is. Select the default project. Then you'll create a new secret key. Copy it. Go back here and paste it in there. Then click on save. Okay. So what is this module doing? It's actually extracting the actual date and time that the user wants to book their appointment. So if they say a statement that is vague, that doesn't specify the actual date and time, we're able to have the AI extract that from their statement. So if they say tomorrow at 10 a.m. and the AI knows that today is 17th of March, it knows that tomorrow at 10 a.m. is actually 18th of March at 10 a.m. So that's the detail we need from the AI. So you can see here is the prompt. We have just asked the user when they want to book the appointment. Your role is to extract the date and time in ISO format from the user statement. You will be provided with the current date and time as well as the user statement. You are to output only the date and time in ISO 8601 format, okay? So ISO format is a date and time format that is globally recognized. So that's why we're working with it. Don't add any notes or text, just the UTC time. And UTC time is like the globally recognized time zone. So UTC actually stands for Coordinated Universal Time. So that when I'm in Australia and I'm saying my time right now is 10 a.m., I don't need to start, if I have an audience that is in, let's say, America, or another one is in Europe, I don't need to start adjusting the time that I'm displaying based on their time zones. I can just put it in UTC time, then I can have them just alter it for whoever is in their time zone. So if I'm in America, I take the UTC time, convert it to my own time zone. If I'm in Europe, I can take the same UTC time and convert it into my Europe time zone. So that is critical. So here's an example of what we expect from the AI, something of the sort. So this is the system prompt that we're giving the AI. Then down here is actually where we give it the details. So when you're giving the AI its instructions, you'll mainly have it in the system prompt. Then when you're providing it with the actual data for it to work on the data, you'll have it in the user prompt. So the role won't be developer or system, it will be user. Okay, so you can see here's the current date and time in ISO format. Then you can see it there. So what is this? Make.com has an inbuilt variable that stores the current date and time. Okay, it's normally within the now variable. So when you click on the actual text box over here, you can see a pop-up over here on the left. So when I go here to the date functionalities, I can see that there's a variable called now. When I click on it, it enters into my text box. So that actually stores the current date and time that the scenario is being run in. So the entirety of this automation is called a scenario. Okay, so here's the customer's response on their desired date and time. So why is this in a red outlined box? Is because we haven't actually sent in some test data so that make.com can know how this data is actually structured. So for that, I'll click on save over here. Then what I'll do is I'll click on run once. Oh, sorry, I need to have the hook in place. So I'll click on this first module, click on add, okay, then I'll click on save, copy address to clipboard, then go back to my Vapi. Okay, here in Vapi I had already pasted a webhook, but I'll remove it, then I'll paste in my new webhook, which is that. Then I'll click on save, then I'll click on test. So actually this test functionality has come out recently. I actually love this tool of testing the function directly from here. It's actually a recent feature that Vapi has added. Initially, you don't even know how much this was a headache. For you to test the actual functionality, you'd have to go and click on talk with assistant and actually test the voice bot, go through the entire process of, let's say it needs to obtain your name, your email, your dental condition for it to now book your appointment. You have to go through all that for you to test just the functionality. It was quite of a tiring process, unnecessary, but now we can do it here. So we'll just simulate that in place. I'll have a JSON here. So for this, I normally use a website called JSONeditoronline.org that we're able just to quickly structure some JSON data that we can send to our API. Oh, good thing I already have one here. So I'll just copy it, then go back here and paste it in there. So you can see the customer name is that, their email is that, their phone number is that, and their dental condition is that, and the appointment time is that. So you can pause and read through that. But what I'll do is I'll click send request, but I'll ensure that my make.com is running. So first of all, I'll click on save on here. Then I'll click on run once. Okay, so that's running. Then I'll come back here and click send request. You can see one is coming. So you can see here some data did enter. But of course there were some errors within the modules because we haven't configured everything appropriately, but I'll guide you through that. But the important part is that if I click on this bubble over here, you can see some data actually came in: the customer name, their email, their phone number, etc. Okay, so when I click on this module for the Open AI model, I can be able to insert in the actual details appropriately. So scrolling down here, you can see here, when I click on that, I can just delete whatever is here. Okay, then I click on, so here's the customer's response on their desired date and time. That's actually in the appointment time over here. So I'll have that in place. Then I'll click on save. Okay, then I'll click run this module only so that you can see what can actually come back. So a statement of tomorrow at 2 p.m. Then let's see if it's able to extract the actual date and time appropriately. So I'll click on OK. So you can see the details is there. Tomorrow is 18th of March. So that's appropriately at 2 p.m. which is actually 14:00 in 24-hour clock system. So that's working properly. Then let's continue. So after getting the actual date and time, we have the next module here of the Google Calendar. What this module does is it returns a list of all the events we have during that day. Okay, so we need to see whether that time slot that the user has asked is actually available or is it actually booked. So when I click on it here, you see there's a minimum time and a maximum time. What this does is you want to check, yes, the person has said they want tomorrow at 10 a.m. Okay, in this case we are simulating that our appointments are typically 60 minutes. So actually let me change this to 60 minutes. So we're trying to check from 10 to 11, is there any event that has been booked in? Then it will return a list of any events that are within between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. If it returns an empty list, then that means that that time slot is free and you can go into booking an appointment into it. But if it returns a list of, let's say, 1 or 2 events, then that time slot is booked. Therefore, the AI should suggest some alternative time slots for the customer to book into. So in this case, you can see the minimum time is going to be the result we get from the initial step, which is the AI. We get that in place. Then the maximum time is the initial time that we have here, but now we add 60 minutes. So if the user says they want to book for 12 p.m., the minimum time will be 12 p.m. and the maximum time will be 1 p.m. So it's checking between 12 and 1 p.m. Are there any events booked within our Google Calendar? So maximum time here, we are using an inbuilt date function called add minutes, okay? And it just adds 60 minutes on that. Then I pick my calendar ID in place by just, so ensure this is not set to map. it's set to just select from the drop down so that you can select your actual calendar. Once that's in place, click on save, then we can continue. Then here the next module is a router that will actually first check whether the time slot is available. If it's available, it will book an appointment. If the time slot is not available, it will go and do something different, which is in this case suggesting alternative time slots. So the first case, we have a router, okay, and after the router we have a filter in place. So this filter, what it does, it will check if the time slot is available. So that's why I've clicked on, you're seeing this link between these two modules. This link is where we put the filter in place, and the filter, what it's doing is it's checking the list of events that we get from the previous module. Is the list empty or is it containing some events? If it's empty, then that means the time slot is available. We can continue into booking into it. So that's why we click on this. Then I'll click on the calendars. Then I go down to my actual calendar. Then this is the variable I want to put in there. Okay, I'll click on that. So since I've already put that in place, I'll delete it. Then what we want to do is array operators, where we're checking whether the array length. So array is the other name of a list. Okay, we're trying to check whether the length of the list is 0. If the length of the list is 0, means that the time slot is available. Okay, so I'll click on save over here. Then going down here in the next filter for if the time slot is not available, is we're checking if the same variable for whether let me just click on this, if this variable contains some events. So the operator we are using here is an array operator. Let me just scroll down, where the array length is greater than something. In this case, we want the array length to be greater than 0, so that we know that that time slot is not available. If it's greater than 0, means it could be 1, 2, 3 events that are within that time slot. Okay, so as long as that's the case, if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever events, we know that that time slot is not available, then we need to suggest alternative time slots. So I'll click on save over here. So now let's simulate if it's actually successfully checked that the time slot is free. So the next module here is a book appointment function. So for this, you'll have to connect to your Google account. If you need help with that, just click on online help over here. It's quite simple. Then once you once you connect to your Google Calendar account, we're able to continue from there. Okay, so leave everything here as default. Then you'll scroll down here. First of all, you'll pick your calendar ID over here. Ensure that this is not toggled on, so that you can be able to pick your calendar from the drop down. Then we can continue. The name of the event will be dental appointment with the customer name. So in this case, I'll remove this and put in the customer name. And mind you, this will change once we actually testing the booking appointment functionality from the actual calling the voice bot. When we click talk with assistant within our Vapi dashboard and actually call it, the data will come in a different format. But in this case, since we are just testing it directly from our Vapi dashboard over here for testing the function, it's formatted a bit differently. So that is, the JSON data is formatted a bit differently. But I'll show you how we're able to work with that. So right now we'll have the customer name there. Then the start date is going to be the actual date and time that the AI extracted from the customer statement. Then the end date, so this is the time the meeting actually ends, or the time the appointment ends, is actually going to be the time that the user suggested plus an hour. So if they suggested they want it 10 a.m., it will be 10 a.m. is the start of the appointment, then 11 a.m. is the end of the appointment. So we just add 60 minutes. You can either have the end date in place or put the duration in place. So if I leave this empty, I can just come here and just say that the duration is 60 minutes. Just that. And you don't put 60 minutes like that. There's a format you can see down here. Is you have to put how many hours. So in this case is just 00 hours, then 60 minutes, or 01 hours, then 0 minutes, something of the sort. Okay, then you'll click on save. So after booking the appointment here, we're going to saving the appointment details to our database. It could be your database or your CRM, doesn't matter. So in this case, we are working with Airtable. So in order to connect to your Airtable account, go ahead and search airtable.com. If you don't have an account, go ahead and sign up and log into your dashboard. It's quite simple, standard procedure stuff. So you'll arrive at something of the sort. I'll go ahead and just click start from scratch. Give your database a name. So I'll double click on that, give it a name, let's say dental DB, something of the sort. Let me just cancel this and delete all these that are already here. Delete that. So the first one here is actually going to be the appointment ID. Okay, then I'll have it as an auto number, so that every new appointment that comes, it automatically just assigns an ID for it. Okay, click on save. So the next one is the customer name. Okay, it's a single line text. Then create field. Same case to customer email, customer phone, dental condition. Dental condition is going to be a long text, so I'll show you that. But for the email, the phone number, and the appointment time is actually in date time format, so I'll show you that. So next one is the appointment time. Okay, it's actually a date field, so I'll click on date. Ensure that this is in ISO format. Then I want to include the time. Okay, the time I want it to be in 24-hour clock system. Then I'll create field. Then the next one is, click on that. This is the dental condition. So this is a long text because it could span a paragraph. Then I'll click on create field. Then in order to connect to our make.com scenario, I'll click on my profile over here, click on build a hub. Then I'll click on create new token, give it a name, whatever it is, then some scopes. So what is a scope is you're telling the actual API that whoever has this access token only has the following permissions. Let's say they only are able to alter some records, they're only able to read the records, they're only able to write to the records, etc. So scope is just the permissions that whoever has this access token is allowed to be able to handle those functionalities. So I normally like just adding all the scopes so that I know whenever in the future I need to use the same access token in order to perform some functionality, I don't need to come and recreate the access token. Okay, but it's critical if you're sharing this access token with a couple of developers or people, ensure that you have this you don't give all the scopes in place. Okay, but since I know I'm not sharing this with anyone, I can just be free with that. Okay, so attach a database. In this case, mine is the dental DB. Then I'll click on create token. Copy this. Okay, come back here to make.com. Then you'll click on add over here. Okay, when you click on add, the connection type is Airtable token. Then you can give it a name, something like dental DB token. Okay, not a token connection. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Then you'll paste in your access token there. Then you'll click on save. Then in the base over here, I'll select the right database, which is in this case the dental DB. So in the name of the table is actually table 1, but I should have actually named it appointments, but we'll just continue. Then in this case, I'll click on refresh to have it display the actual fields that are within my table. So you can see the customer name, email, phone, appointment time, etc. And also the dental condition. So for customer name, I'll click on the text box, then scroll down till I see my customer name. I'll click on it and have that in place. Same case for customer email, same case for phone, the appointment time and the dental condition, have that in place. Then click on save. Just that. Then for sending the email, I'll click on this module. What you want to do is connect to your Google account. In this case, if you need help with that, just click on online help. It will guide you in regard to that. It's quite simple. Then you can come and follow along. So in the to email address, you want to put in your email address that will be receiving the notifications of these appointments booked. So in this case, I had my email in place as like the email of the dental clinic or the dentist himself. Okay. Then the subject of the email is that this is the dental appointment booked. Then we have the name of the customer there. Okay, so for this, I'll remove this in place. Then I'll just click and put in my actual customer name. So customer name is there. Then we can continue. So the content type is HTML. Why is this? Is because we want to use some HTML tags within the email in order to proper format it. So for this, you can see these are HTML tags, and what they do is that they just are line breaks. Just go into the next line, kind of like when you click enter within your keyboard. Okay, if you don't have this in place, it's going to appear like, let me just remove this and see how it will appear. Okay, it will appear that way. It doesn't look good. Okay, no, it's actually not going to appear that way. It's going to appear something of the sort. Okay, so to have a line break within make.com, ensure you have line breaks in place. Okay, so you can see a new appointment has been booked. Here are their details: their name, email, phone number, their dental condition, and the appointment time. Okay, so for that, I can just remove this and add them in accordingly. Notice that once I test the voice bot from actually clicking on the button talk with assistant, the data will come in differently, and it's actually going to be in this format that you're seeing over here. So once we are doing that, so once we go and test it from the actual that when you click on talk with assistant, we'll have to come and reconfigure our modules to ensure that we are having the details come in appropriately, knowing that the data is coming in a different format. Okay, so for the customer name, I'll click on that, then put that in place. Customer name, customer email. Then in the appointment time here, we'll just have the date that the AI actually extracted. So you can see that within the result that we get from the AI based on the statement the user gave. Then we finish with regards, and notice here we are using this inbuilt make.com function that of formatting date. Is we want the date that the AI extracts to be in a certain format. In this case, we want it to be 4 digits for the year, 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, 2 digits for the hour, 2 digits for the time, and we finish with whether it's AM or PM. That is critical. Then I'll click on save. Then let's continue. So after sending the dentist an email, we also want to send the user, this is the customer, an email notifying them that their appointment has been successfully booked. So for this, let me just rename it to send customer email. Okay, then I'll click on the module itself. It's kind of like what we are doing for the initial module, but that now in this case we are sending the email not to a predefined email address, kind of like the way we have the email of the dentist, and we know always whenever an appointment is booked, an email will be sent to that one email address. In this case, we want it to be sent to the specific customer email address. So in this case, I'll remove this, then I put in the customer email address. Okay, then we can continue. The subject is ultimate dental appointment booked. Content is just kind of like similar. We'll say dear the name of the customer, so I'll have the name of the customer there. This is to confirm your appointment has been booked for that specific time. So same case, we are formatting the date and time in a certain format. Then I'll click on save. Then once we have done all that, we know that the appointment has been booked. Appointment details have been saved to our database. We have sent the dentist and the customer an email. Now we can tell Vapi, which is our AI voice bot, that tell the customer the appointment has been booked. So for this, we have a webhook response, and the webhook response sends back the data in a certain format. Okay, so there's a certain format that you have to have the response in, so that the AI voice bot, or rather the AI phone caller, can be able to know that this data is coming as a result of this specific tool. Because you could be having a couple of tools, a couple of functions that the AI handles during the call, but we need to tell the AI that this response that is coming back is for this specific tool, this tool for booking an appointment. So that's why we need to have the tool call ID. So the tool call ID will come from somewhere. In this case, we're not able to access it because we are not testing the functionality appropriately. We're just doing some dummy test directly from our Vapi dashboard over here. But in reality, when we test it when I go back to assistants over here and I click on talk with assistant, we're able to access the tool call ID. But I'll show you that. So let's just have that in place. In the result will be a text message of saying, amazing, your appointment has been successfully booked. This could be a statement, a text. It could be a number, something like just something like number 4, if that's the result you want to send back. It could be a JSON variable, something of the sort, where you want to send in a couple of variables or a couple of pieces of data back to the AI. Are you able to have JSON over here? So it could be an object, a JSON object. It could be text data. It could be numeric data. It could be whatever it is. You can have it within this result, okay? But in this case, I have mine as a string, okay? Then I'll click on save. So when we go back here to our Vapi dashboard, we can just do a quick test again. Let me just check my calendar to ensure that I'm checking for a time that isn't booked in. So here we'll say tomorrow at 4 p.m. Then I'll click on send request. But before I do that, I need to ensure my scenario is running. Okay, so I'll click on run once. Come back here, send request. So the data came in. Let's look at whether the time slot is available. So I'll click on this bubble over here. Then when I click on calendars, my actual calendar, and this variable of busy, you can see that busy is actually empty. That variable of busy is empty, meaning that that time slot is available for booking. So you can see here in the filter bubble that there's one bundle of data that has been able to pass through. This means that that the details that have come from our AI voice bot have actually passed through in order to book the appointment, okay? When I click on the bubble, you're able to see that the data was able to pass through because the busy variable has a length of 0, okay? And you can see a tick there. That matches our filter condition, which our condition, if I click on it, you can see the condition was whether the array length is 0. That is, the length of the busy variable is 0. Then you can see here the appointment was actually booked in. So when I click on the bubble there, you can see that the status is confirmed. The appointment has been booked. Then when I go to my Google Calendar, I'm able to see their dental appointment with Mutiso Mwadime from 4 to 5 p.m. So that works appropriately. But now the issue here is in the Airtable database. So let's see the error. So you can see validation failed for one parameter. Invalid date in parameter. So yes, that is not working. Why is that? Is because when I go here to my database, the date field is in date format, okay? But the date that we get from our AI voice bot is in text. So you can see here, when I click on it, this appointment time is expected to be in date time format, okay? But whatever is coming back from the actual AI, so let me just click on this bubble, you can see the appointment time is in text, okay? So what we need to do is click on this, change the appointment time to be whatever the AI actually extracted. So I'll click on that, and then click on save. Then when we test this again, this should be able to work. So I'll click on run once again, then go back here and test it. Then in this case, I'll change it from tomorrow at 4 p.m. to tomorrow at 10 a.m. because I know that is available. Okay, so you can see it was able to book the appointment. If I check my calendar, you can see a new appointment has entered with Mutiso Mwadime at 10 to 11 a.m. If I go back here, you can see that the data was actually added to our database. So when I enter my database here, I need to see, yeah, it's just entered right now. So you can see there, the experiencing serious lower teeth pain from an injury yesterday. And if I check my Vapi, this is the exact statement that comes in. Then it goes ahead to send an email, okay? So you can see it sends an email successfully. So you can see there an email has entered, dental appointment booked, dear doctor, and you can see my details there, exactly what we sent back from our AI voice bot. Then sending the customer email, of course this didn't work, of course, because I gave a wrong email address. So this email of mutiso@gmail.com doesn't exist, but in real sense it should be able to send the email. Then it sends a webhook response back to our Vapi voice bot so that we're able to tell the user that the appointment has been booked. And you can see there in the response body, you can see exactly what comes back from make.com. It's amazing, your appointment has been successfully booked. So for this, I want us to test it, but now directly from our Vapi dashboard. So I'll go ahead and click on run once over here. Go back to our assistants. Then I'll go to functions over here, select tools. Then I'll select the book an appointment function. Then I'll click on publish. So whenever you make any changes, ensure you publish. So that's been updated successfully. Then I go back to my system prompt. Initially I had called it book appointment function, but in this case I'll call it book an appointment function. So when I scroll down here, it's meant to work with book an appointment function. Same case to down here, book an appointment function. Okay, so that's proper in it. Then I'll click on publish, then we can click talk with assistant. But before we do that test, there's this one note that I want to add at the bottom here, which I normally paste in whatever voice bot I build. I normally call it prompt seasoning. What it does is just makes your AI your AI conversations more human-like, more natural. We don't want the customer to outright know that I'm talking to a robot. Okay, let's just have it try its best to sound human-like. So there you go. When generating responses, aim for a casual and conversational tone. Think of how you might talk to a friend in a relaxed setting. Use informal and colloquial English is hard. Common colloquial expressions such as so, yeah, and okay. Avoid formal language and corporate jargon. Instead, focus on making the dialogue flow naturally, using contractions like you're instead of you are, and insert filler words occasionally to mimic natural speech patterns. Strive to make responses sound warm and approachable, using everyday vocabulary and sentence structures. This is a voice conversation, so keep your responses short, like in a real conversation. Don't ramble for too long. This is critical. What you can do is just screenshot this, paste it within Copilot, ChatGPT or whatever, and tell it to extract the following, the text content of this image. Copy that, then save it and save it somewhere, and you'll paste it in whatever voice bot you build. Literally paste it in whatever voice bot you build. It will make your conversations way better. Come thank me later. Then I'll click on publish. So that's been updated. Then we can click talk with assistant. Ensure my Mac.com is still running.
Hello, this is Jane from Ultimate Dental. How can I assist you today?
Looking to book an appointment.
Sure, I'd be happy to help with that. Could you please tell me a bit about your dental condition or the reason for your visit?
Yeah, it's mainly I hurt my teeth yesterday, that's all.
Got it. You had a dental cleaning yesterday and you're looking to book another appointment. Is there anything specific you'd like to address in this upcoming appointment, or is it just a routine checkup?
I hurt my teeth yesterday. I fell down and it's really painful.
Ouch, I'm really sorry to hear that. That sounds painful. Can you tell me if there's any visible damage to your teeth,
no,
like cracks or chips?
Whatever I've said, that's all I can say right now.
All right, I understand. Let's get you booked in for an appointment so we can take a closer look. Could you please provide your full name?
My name is Alex Walker.
Thanks, Alex. And what's your email address?
alex@gmail.com.
Great, and what's your preferred phone number?
07554433322.
Awesome. Let's confirm this. Your name is Alex Walker. Your email is alex@gmail.com. And your phone number is 07554433322. Is that all correct?
Yes.
Perfect. When would you like to book your appointment? Any specific date and time in mind?
Okay, can we do tomorrow at 5 p.m.?
Sure, just a moment while I check the availability. Could you please specify the date you're looking for?
Tomorrow at 5 p.m.
This will just take a sec. Looks like tomorrow at 5 p.m. is already booked. We have availability at 3 p.m., 4 p.m., or 6 p.m. Does any of these times work for you?
So I'll end the call there. Go back here and we're seeing an error has just entered over here. Time max, add minutes. Not date and time provided by the user. Sort of valid date. What do you mean? Perfect. So yeah, it's not working for a reason. So you can see here the data does come in, but it doesn't work because the data is structured differently. And that's why it was important for us to now test it from actually talking to the voice bot. So in this case, if I click on this bubble over here, you can see the data comes in. When I click on message over here, for you to access the actual pieces of information, the name, email, phone number, etc., you'll click on tool calls over here, then the plus, click on function, click on arguments, then you're able to see them there. So in my subsequent modules over here, I need to alter wherever I have these pieces of information and have them inserted in correctly based on the new format that we have. So in this case, when I scroll down, so here you can see now the appointment time is outlined in a red line, meaning that this data in this specific format doesn't exist. So that's why I'll delete that, then go under tool calls, then under functions, under arguments. Okay, it's not arguments, I'm not putting the entire arguments variable, but under arguments, okay, so you're clicking on the arrow itself. I want to put in the appointment time. Okay, then I'll click on save. Then same case over here in the Google Calendar, I'll come and alter. I think that's it, that's okay. Then when we test this should be able to work. But for the booking appointment, let me see if there's anything that needs to change here. The customer name needs to come and be the one in the tool calls, functions, under arguments. I want to have the customer name there accordingly. Then click on save. Then I'll do the same thing for all subsequent modules, so that we don't have to go through the entire process for that. Okay, so I mean, you'll do the same thing also for uploading to our database. So whenever there's customer name, customer email, put in the arguments appropriately. Okay, and that should be able to work. So now let's go into the functionality for when the time slot isn't available for booking. For that, we have the first module over here. So here it will pass through this filter, and it will notice that the actual variable for the busy variable. So remember, within this Google Calendar there's the busy variable, and if that busy variable, it's a list. If the list is empty, means that the time slot is available. If it's not empty, means the time slot is not available. So it will flow through this specific path. So here we first go through this tool module, which what it does is just it creates a new variable called day that we can access anywhere else within our make.com scenario henceforth. So after this module, okay, and what we want to do is get the actual day. So why we need the actual day that the customer wants to book? Let's say they've said tomorrow at 10 a.m, but we need to know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow is 18th March. So we just need to know that day. So that's why we have this function called format date. It will return back the same date in this format, but we add here in the part for time, it won't have the time as what the user has asked. It will have the time as the very beginning of the day at 12 a.m. So that's why we are seeing here T, which represents time, being 00, that is 12 a.m. At literally 0 minutes. Okay, then why am I having as +3 over here? This is in regard to my actual time zone, because my time zone here is in Nairobi, Kenya, is in +3 of UTC. So it's UTC +3, meaning it's 3 hours ahead of UTC being the universal time zone. Okay, so if at the universal time zone at the Greenwich Meridian it's at 2 p.m, here it's going to be 5 p.m. That's why I'm having it that way. Then I'll click on save. Then we'll continue here. We want to check for that specific day, the entirety of it. We want to get back a list of all the events that have been booked in for that specific day. Events, meetings, appointments, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so in this case, let me enter the module and be able to see that. So the minimum time is at the very beginning of the day, which is at 12 a.m. of tomorrow, which is 18th of March. That's an example, my guys. So then the maximum time is 24 hours ahead of that. So we get that day, then we add 24 hours on that. This is an inbuilt variable called add hours. That's okay. Then here I just attach my calendar ID, ensure that this is not set to mapping, so that you're able to access the drop down over here and select your calendar. Then I'll click on save, then continue. So next we want to transform whatever data comes in from this module into a JSON string. Okay, that is a JSON string, because what will come back is going to be a JSON object, but we need it to be a string so that we can feed that string into an AI, so that the AI can be able to suggest alternative time slots. Okay, because here's the deal: we want to return a list of all events that have been booked in within this day, okay, of tomorrow, so that we're able to suggest alternative time slots that don't coincide with those booked in events. So if we know we have 3 events, one at 10 a.m, another at 2 p.m, another at 4 p.m, we're able to suggest alternative time slots that are close to what the user wanted, but are not within those booked in time slots. What that is not within 10 a.m, that is not within 1 p.m, that is not within 4 p.m. Hope that makes sense. So that's why we need to transform this JSON object into a JSON string, and this module does that. So that's what, okay, you'll click on show advanced settings, ensure that your indentation is in 4 spaces. Then the object that you want to transform is the busy variable. Okay, so for that, let me insert it appropriately. So here in the busy variable, yes, it's outlined with a blue border, meaning that it doesn't exist. Why is this? It's because when we have been doing these testings, we have never reached this point of actually booking an appointment when the time slot isn't available. So for that, let me just click save over here. Then let's simulate that. So I'll click run once over here. Then let's simulate an actual test where the time slot isn't available. So I'll have to go and talk with assistant again, but I'll skim through it so that you don't have to listen to me talking about the same thing. So there you can see some data has come in and it has flowed through the path of the time slot wasn't available. So in this case, I told it to book for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Of course, tomorrow at 10 a.m. is already booked in. So that's why it's flowing through this specific path. So you can see, if I click on this bubble, the first bubble, you can see this is the data that comes in. When I click on tool calls, going further deeper, I don't know why they hide the data so deep this way. It's quite frustrating. Anyways, so you can see that's the data that comes in. You can pause and read through it. Then when I click on this bubble for the actual checking availability for the entire day to get back a list of all the events that are booked in for that day, we're able to see that. I'll click on calendars over here, my calendar, the busy variable here. You can see I have 4 events booked in, and you can see that's actually the case. If I see my calendar, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, but this is a JSON object. Okay, so we need to be able to pass in this variable of busy as a string, as a text that the AI can use to be able to suggest alternative time slots. So that's why we feed that information here. So now you see it's in a blue box. Initially it was a blue outline, but now it's entirely in blue, meaning that this data does exist and we know how it's formatted, how it's structured, etc. So click on save over here. Then we move on. So here's the deal. Make.com by default stores any date time variables in UTC. Okay, that is the coordinated universal time. That is the universal time zone. But in this case, when the AI is suggesting back time slots that are near to what the user wanted, it needs to provide that within the time zone of the user, not UTC. So in this case, we have made an API call to Google Calendar, and it's brought back a list of all the events that are booked in within that specific day. Let's say tomorrow. The entire of tomorrow, we have 4 events booked in, and those events, when they're brought into make.com, they are stored in UTC. Okay, and for us to see that practically, let me just show you. So I'll click on this bubble on this specific module for the Google Calendar. Then I'll click on this download button. Then I'll click on download output bundles. Okay, so you can see there, this is the busy variable. Okay, this is the busy variable. We can see it has 4 objects representing 4 events, and each event has its start time and the end time. But you can see here the start time for this is 7 and its end time is 8. But if I go to my Google Calendar, let me show you. I don't have an event at 7 a.m. My first event is 10 a.m. So this is the event that it's speaking about. It's brought back to my make.com, but when it's brought back to make.com, it's automatically converted into UTC because that's the default way of storing such data in make.com. So that's why you can see it does -3. It turns it into UTC, which is 7 a.m. Same case to the others, 9 a.m., 11:30 a.m., etc. So we need to convert all this into our EAT, which is East African time zone. So that's why we have this module. So we have a JSON array containing time slots that have been booked in our calendar. The time is, however, in UTC, and I need them in my time zone, which is in EAT, that is East African time, which is UTC +3. Notice I said our time zone is ahead in 3 hours. Okay, so convert them into UTC and just return the JSON array string. Do not output any extra statements or words, just the array. So yeah, we provide the JSON array there, which is in string. Then we click on save to continue. Then the next module is actually for suggesting the alternative time slots. Why is this? We already know that the user wants to book tomorrow at 10 a.m. but 10 a.m. is already booked. We already know the current date and time. We also know all the booked in time slots so that we know when the AI is suggesting the time slots back to the user, it shouldn't suggest a time slot that is already booked. So we already know all these pieces of information, and thus we can have the AI accurately provide time slots that come close to what the user wanted, but time slots that are not already booked. Okay, so that's why we have this step. So your role is to only output the close alternative times that the user can book in for. Then we give it the actual data. So in the user prompt here, we tell it, please recommend 3 alternative 1-hour time slots. Here are all the times in the day that are not available. You must not recommend any times within these booked slots. So then we have here our list of events of that specific day, but now in our current time zone. So that's why we have this. We're getting this from the result. If I hover over this, you can see the initial module starts to pulsate. This is the module that was converting it from UTC to EAT, that is our time zone. So on your case, ensure to change that into your time zone. So if you live in America, change that to your American time zone. Ask ChatGPT, it will help you on that. So try and recommend time slots that are close to the initial booking time. The time slot should include a start and end time. This is the current time. You must ensure it is not earlier than this. So when it's recommending time slots, we know right now, let's say right now as we're speaking, it's 8 a.m. So right now, during the phone call with the customer, it's 8 a.m. It shouldn't suggest a time like 7 a.m. 7 a.m. is already in the past. So that's why we are putting that in place. And we are formatting it to be in our specific time zone, which is Africa, Nairobi. Please recommend 3 times in that would be available for booking. Please output the times as if you're speaking to a person. Ensure to suggest the time slot starting with the earliest option to the latest one. Ensure to provide the closest option to their desired time. So for example, if they want a session from 2 to 3 p.m. but that is already booked, if you are to pick from 2 options, either the 10 to 11 a.m. option or the 1 to 2 p.m. function option, then go with the 1 to 2 p.m. option because it's closer. You must ensure the time slots recommended are available. Please refer to the unavailable times. Hope that makes sense. Then you'll click on save. Then we send back a webhook response containing the result. So you can see the same tool call ID, we put that in place. Then the result is whatever the AI comes up with as the alternative time slots to whatever the user wanted. And yeah, that's it. So I'll click on save. I'll ensure this template is provided so that you can work with it. Then ensure this is toggled on. This means you're scheduling it so that it's always ready to book appointments, whether it's day, night, whatever time it is. You don't have to come and click on this run once button to ensure it's booking the appointment. Okay, so that's working properly. And yeah, that's it from me. That's how you're able to build an advanced AI receptionist that 1 handles your customer inquiries, 2 books them into an appointment, 3 sends your team an email and also the customer an email, and 4 saves the appointment details to your database or your CRM or whatever. It's quite powerful of a system, ensuring that you're 24/7 available to ensure no leads are falling through the cracks. They've called you, they want to book an appointment. You not being available is you losing money. And I mean, I think you're smart, unless you don't like money if you're a monk. Anyways, if you want to work with our team to build such powerful AI systems that unlock real growth, there'll be a link in the description to book in a meeting with our team. Anyways, that's it from me. Till next time, stay savvy. Peace.